So it's detailing season, and I'm sitting here on a stool in front of two cars that I think are a great muse for detailing. And so what I'm hoping to accomplish here today is to make a polishing video maybe a little bit more interesting. And I really appreciate you all being here and bearing with us as we attempt to sort of figure out the pathway to make the traditional long form, no edits, typical Matty videos, and then attempt to make them garage focused, anchored in the space that we all love here on the OG channel. So if you've found value in this channel, we know there's lots and lots of new people here. We'd like to see some growth, so it'd be great if you, I know I don't ask you this often, but if you'd click the subscribe button, those numbers are gonna help me go out and pursue other brands and other products and chase things to share with you. But when we get into detailing season, I always think about how am I going to share a process with you? What's changed? What products am I now using? Which car do I want to do it on? And you've seen me, I got started on my Golf GT3 RS and the paint peeled. I had this big solid plan to detail it and perfect it and finish it, and it turned into a 6-month project. And so I got a different car. The 997, which you saw me introduce when we did the decon. If you haven't watched that video, you might want to go check it out. And so I wanted to make another polishing video, and I wanted to make it a little bit different than what I've done in the past. And so I thought it made sense. One of the things I've been pondering a lot when I got this car was which is the anchor? Is it the GT3 and the car, or the or the M3, the E92? Is it that, or is it the garage? Could one live without the other? I've had to contemplate this the last few years with my sort of inability to drive and the panic that's been associated with it. I should probably sit down and tell that story again and where I'm at with that. And so I've had to reflect a lot more than I've had in the past. And so the goal here in this video was to perfect the paint. But because I was pondering this question when I was acquiring or getting these cars to do this video series with you, I started thinking about garage versus car and which one makes sense. And I've just been in this perfecting process of organizing each drawer and cleaning each cabinet and getting this place set up. And it's been one of the most enjoyable experiences I've ever had, because I feel like I'm in a different place than I've been the last 10 years you've been watching me. I've been chasing what's the next thing? And so when I get a car, it's what's the next car? And I get the next car and the next car, what's the pursuit? Or I got many different houses and built many different garages. But this is a little different because these feel more permanent. Now, I may turn over the color, but the model, these are the models that I want of the cars. These are the colors that I want of the cars. And so it's the same holds true for this garage that we built. I'm sure there'll be many iterations of this garage, but this building, this space where we're at, seems quite a bit more permanent to me for the first time. And so we spared no expense, just like I'm doing with the cars that I'm acquiring. And getting them for the longer term. Now, you know me, I tend to jinx myself when I say that, but the pursuit of building this garage has been more enjoyable because of that. So which one? Car, garage, which one's the anchor? And so let's just think about this space. It's the first time I've been able to put a 2-post lift and a scissor lift. I've only lived with my favorite cabinets for a short period of time at a previous house, and that's the Sonic MSS Plus cabinets. We had it in the Helen house up in the mountains at Destination OG, but it never really felt like mine. It felt like ours. You guys and me, we were sort of using it together. This is now my cabinet array. So having MSS Plus here from Sonic in my everyday use was exciting to me. And then dealing with the details, choosing the flooring, making sure the lighting's perfect, lighting control, and then getting into the accessories like a matching press-all bottle set, lev rack, giant storage unit where I can put all my car parts and stage them for the projects that I am inevitably going to work on in here. Having the vacuum system, the pressure washer system, the amazing air compressor system, having all that. and then going on my own shelves and getting all the detailing stuff that I'm going to use to perfect, various vehicles in here, or get them as close to perfect as I can. And so you put all that stuff together, and then you take the blood and sweat and time and effort that Mike and team and the various contractors are kind of putting this thing together. It makes me want to favor the garage as the anchor. I guess I could have a car without the garage, but I guess one could make an argument that the garage really doesn't matter if you don't have cars to put in it. And so despite the fact that I'm really unable to drive them, I still love them. I love having them in here, and I love working on them. And in fact, that's probably my favorite part, is the combination of all the cool stuff that goes in the garage combined with the amazing cars that I get to play with and perfect and chase the perfection that we're looking to accomplish here. And so we saw that chase backfire on us. And many of you made the comment, is like, you should just leave well enough alone. We saw it on my Golf RS, where I've got some scratches and swirls underneath the paint protection film. And so I started pulling the paint protection film off, and then we find some of the idiosyncrasies of doing that, and that you may end up with an area where you peel the paint off, which is kind of counterintuitive. And so it made me really question, do I need the car? Do I want the car? What do I want to do with that? And so the plan was to come into this garage and do a detailing series for the spring and polish it to as close to perfect as we can get, use all the great products, share with you all the different things that I use, share with you the process, the why, the how, the what should you, what shouldn't you, and we all learned some lessons through this process. In fact, it was rather polarizing watching people fight no to PPF, yes to PPF, you're stupid if you do it, you're stupid if you don't. And that's been fun to sort of be a part of that. I've asked that question 1,000,000 times. And so I was forced to go out and get a different car and to bring the 997 in to do this series and to share with you the process. And so the car is clearly, for many of us, the anchor of the obsession, especially if you're getting cars like these. I mean, these things are amazing to work on. And so that process of using then all of the things in the drawers. I didn't need a lot of tools for this project, but I did have to open up my drawers and get some screwdrivers out and the high torque tool, and then obviously get all the detailing supplies and aggregate those in order to do the perfecting process. But the experience of bringing a great car in, I like to work on cars that are already relatively clean. I like to work on cars that are already relatively in good shape. I want cars that I can take to the next level rather than attempting to bring them back from the grave. I like to take great cars and try to make them better. I find that to be more difficult. I find that to be my niche. I find that to be exciting to me, especially if we're going to do it in this clean, well cared for, maintained garage. I don't want to be banging rust off of old exhaust and attempting to refix things. I just want to perfect things. And so detailing has always been a large percentage of the anchor of my obsession. I would say it occupies a good 10 to 15, maybe 20% of my life. I love the process, I love the products. I hate doing the work, but man, am I addicted to the result. So this 997 RS, this aqua blue, low production, very expensive car. A car's worth, I don't know if I want to tell you what it cost, but it's over $400,000. It's more than what this garage cost. And so the pursuit of the amazing car to then use inside of the garage makes me want to lean toward choosing the car and choosing that expense to be more important or to be the anchor of my obsession. So the perfecting process, what I did to this car, it didn't need a lot. It was already coated, but it was getting a little long in the tooth. It was time to strip the coating off. There were some love marks, some toweling marks, some scratches, some swirls, just from normal maintenance, normal use, and not being in my care. And so I knew I wanted to polish it, so we deconned it in the previous video, and then I started jumping into the process of getting the paint corrected. So we start with taping. I like 3M precision tape. I think it's the best tape for this job. It is a sort of semi-translucent Japanese sourced tape, very similar to what I think it's called Kamoi tape, used in like crafting. And so the 3M Precision allows me to, get the vehicle taped. It doesn't release residue if you polish over top of it. I wish it was still a little bit better on the sort of the leaving sticky side behind when you wipe with your towel. But in general, it's a really great tape for taping off the headlights, the black porous trim, the trim around the windows. Getting all of those surfaces protected just makes it easier than attempting to clean out polish later. After we do that, then I generally need to wipe the surfaces down and have it prepared. So I'd used an isopropyl alcohol solution called CarPro Eraser to wipe the surface down and get that cleaned up in preparation to polish. And then we always do a test spot. I have my Scan Grip light, my little Match Pen R. I have many of the Scan Grip lights, but I find that having the Match Pen gets me most of the result I need, largely because we have the amazing Cree lighting in here that already solves most of my lighting needs. I can look around the contours and follow the lights overhead for most of my paint correction needs, getting out the inspection light to really show if we're doing a good job. And so we do the test spot. Once the test spot is done, then I'll know the procedure and know the process. I had guessed that this paint was going to be pretty easy to do, even though it's a rarer color, wasn't chosen very often for the 997. This aqua blue was not a paint to sample vehicle, so I'd assumed that the paint was going to be good, typical Porsche paint, where we could go in and I could do a simple two-step process and get it back to factory fresh, or better than factory, I guess you could say. So I got to polishing, started using a Rupes microfiber pad and buttered it or primed it with Griot's fast correcting cream. Started to polish, did 4 pretty aggressive passes with it, and I found there was a problem. It left a real heavy haze. The polish wasn't washing off or cleaning off with the towel. And so then I used some eraser to try to get it off. It still didn't come off. I thought, well, shoot, maybe I overworked the polish. But I'd only made 4 passes like I normally did. So then it dawned on me, this car has an older Pro coating, and this Pro level C-Quartz, I believe it's C-Quartz Finest that's on here, is a little more difficult to remove. So in some areas, especially on the top areas where it was exposed to more sunlight, it seemed that it needed a set of 4 passes and then a follow-up of another couple of passes, but I needed to really make sure that my pad was blown out. I found that the Rupes blowout tool that I was using with my vacuum wasn't blowing the pad out enough, so I actually opened up my door so I could really blow the pad out, and just dealt with the fact that it was getting a little bit hotter in here. I then followed, after those 2 sets of passes, I followed with Sonax Perfect Finish and a Rupes yellow pad, and then I got the result that I was looking for. I did need to use the 1-inch polisher to do a little bit of correcting in certain spots, to do some spot treatment, a few deeper scratches. But in general, this car is really well cared for. The most difficult part was dealing with the coating removal, and once that was removed, then the car jeweled out really nicely. I actually was able to correct all of the scratches and swirls in that first set of 4 passes. It was almost as if the second set of passes was just to get the remaining residue that was sort of ground into the remaining coating that was still on the surface. But you could see that very clearly in the video. After that, I polished the glass with Built Hamber Review. It's a new product from Built Hamber that is really designed to deep clean the glass. The beauty of it is it wipes off really well. I did what I normally do, and I did the door jams. I did all this, every crack and crevice of the car, and attempted to get it to what I would call 90% perfection. A car that exists, a car that has some miles on it, very rarely is going to have a lack of imperfections, so we have to deal with that. And this process perfecting of the car is very similar to like organizing a drawer and setting it up to where all the labels have a dedicated spot for each tool. It's time consuming, it's hard work. It's something that while I'm doing the process feels like it's never going to end. I have about 11 hours of polishing in order to get the car to this spot. But the process is difficult. The process is time consuming, but the process to me is really rewarding. So this car, nothing major. There's some rock chips on it. I think it's going to stay without PPF. It's going to stay in its raw form. We're going to do a follow-up to this video doing a G-Technic CSL XO, doing this simple coating setup that I do on most of my cars. I would love to do another quick polishing a year or two from now, remove that, and then reapply it. I like the process of going through this perfecting. So as I'm talking to you here, I don't know the answer to that question. Which is the anchor? Is it the car? Is it the garage? Similar investments, similar price. When you put the two together, that number is scary. In order to get these things to the level that I want them to be, to make them darn near perfect, to make them clean, to make them organized, to know that I'm going to spend hours and hours and hours keeping both of them clean is a bit daunting, a bit of an undertaking to maintain. But I tell you this, I do enjoy the process. I really enjoy the result. I wish I would enjoy the journey a little bit more than I do when I'm going through the pain and suffering of getting it done. But man, it wouldn't be as satisfying unless you were to go through the process of building a garage like this, setting it up, organizing everything, or taking a car and perfecting it. So detailing series is kicked off this year. I hope that you'll consider buying some stuff from us. It really helps me do this. Go to obsessedgarage.com. We'll put links in the description. We'll put links underneath the video with little cards to show you all the different things we use in this video. I really simplified the number of things that I need in my cabinet. 3 polishers, 1 type of towel, 2 types of pads, and you can do an amazing result like we got with this car. Stay tuned for some follow-ups on how it looks after the coating and all the wheel stuff is done and the new tires and all of that. The glass is coated and the interior is done. So make sure to check out that video. But I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe and join us on this journey. I'm going to keep playing and attempting to make some interesting videos. Let me know what you thought about this one, and we'll keep trying some different things. Thanks for watching. Always go to the Matt Moorman channel if you want the long form version of this. I did make an hour-long video of me polishing this thing, so go there and subscribe there too. Thanks for watching. As always, stay tuned for more crazy. I think it's the garage for me. See you soon.